I made $1,000 in profit in 51 days with 44 flips on Facebook Marketplace, and today I want to share with you how you can make your very first sale using the same reselling strategies. Selling on Facebook Marketplace is a lot simpler than you might think. It's going to take you 3 steps to get to your first sale, so hit that like button if you're ready to start learning. Step 1 is going to be sourcing. So we're going to talk about what to sell and where to get it. So we're going to be taking a $0 capital approach, meaning you're not going to use any of your money on inventory. Talk about what to buy. Definitely do not overthink this step. As long as it's in good condition and priced right, there's likely going to be a market for it, especially if it's low cost. The luxury of having low cost / $0 inventory is that you can pretty much make a profit with any amount that you put it up for. But if you want to increase your chances of it selling, you can actually use Facebook Marketplace to your advantage. So you're going to want to open up the app, move over to Marketplace, and then at the top left you'll see a sell button. So you want to click on that sell button, and once you're on that page, at the very bottom of the page is where you're going to see trending categories of the week and timeless picks. So I would probably pick timeless picks. However, if there's, something like furniture or something like that in trending categories, or you can acquire some of those items in trending categories, then you can start there as well. Both are good sections to just keep an eye on. So you can actually just browse through those sections to see what is trending now and what is kind of a classic purchase. We'll give you insights into what people are buying right now on Facebook Marketplace. You don't have to exclusively pick ideas from here. You can also look for things that you personally would be interested in, or let's say if you have a kind of like family demographic in your area, there's a lot of kids, or young families, you might want to shop for children clothing and things like that. If it's a college town, you might want to sell something like a calculator or something like that college kids are looking for. So definitely use a combination of analytics, demographics, and then also your personal interests to inform your decisions. My top performing categories were home, kitchen, and children items. So now that you know what you want to sell, let's talk about where to get items for free. So unless you can find something in your home that you can make a profit off of, I recommend using your home as a last resort. Usually when you resell things around the house, you're recovering money, but not necessarily making money. And our goal is to make a profit here. So that's why I'm going to recommend that you start elsewhere. If you do want to start at home, you can, like I said earlier, you want to avoid things that you paid money for. So that brings us to gifts. Have you been gifted something that the gift giver would be okay with you selling it? In my case, that's how I started. I sold a gift that was just collecting dust. I knew that the person that gave it to me wouldn't mind if I made a project around it. So I actually put it on Facebook Marketplace and sold it to someone for $15. Another place that I have sourced free items from is the curb in my neighborhood. It's actually really popular to just put your items out in the curb for other people to just take. I've put my own stuff out there, and I've also gotten things from other neighbors who have put things on the curb as well. You can probably drive around other neighborhoods that might do this if your neighborhood doesn't do this. The last item that I sold in my $1,000 journey was something that I picked up from my mentor's neighbor. She lived in kind of like an affluent area, and her neighbor actually sold antiques. Like, she had an antique store, and she would often just put things out in her front yard that she wanted gone. One day I was over at her house, noticed the chair, and went to go pick it up later that day. Another resource here is freecycle.com. So I'd be a little cautious here, kind of use your best judgment. You don't really want to take things from people who need it. So there's kind of like a fine balance here. If you notice that a posting has been listed for several months, chances are that you're going to be doing the earth and that person a favor by taking it. So something that you could do is look up the trending items that you saw on FreeCycle and see if any are available nearby. Another option is Facebook Marketplace. I personally stay away from buy nothing groups just because I feel like those are generally there to like really fill in some people's needs. So I don't use Facebook Marketplace buy nothing groups. What you can do is put an alert out for whenever someone posts something for free. I know whenever I put things in my curb, I'll put it up on Facebook Marketplace and just, you know, mark it as free for anyone to take. So something that I know people have done before is they'll set an alert on Facebook Marketplace when things are free and they'll go and pick them up. This last place is I've never done, but I know people who have done this before and it sounds grosser than it is, but you can dumpster dive. So whether that's things kind of hanging out around your, like if you live in an apartment, sometimes your neighbors want to just throw out furniture and they just don't want to deal with, you know, taking pictures of it and listing it and selling it. So they'll just put it in the dumpster. So that's a good opportunity to find something. Another type of dumpster that you can try are corporate dumpsters. So sometimes companies like Apple and things like this will dump a lot of their inventory out. I don't know exactly why they do this or when they do this, but I know people who have made thousands in a summer just by picking up some dead inventory at like Apple and things like this. So I would say just do this for one thing and sort of see how it goes. But the truth is that just because you get it for free and you find the right thing that's trending and you price it right doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to sell or sell as fast as you want. So you might have to repeat this a couple times. Definitely start this once and see how it goes. But if after a week you haven't sold the item, I would repeat this process one more time. But the point here for our first sale is to give it a week before trying one more time. Step 2 is going to be listing it. So let's talk about how to price it and how to ideally list your item. So when you want to price your item, you're going to want to look at comparables on Facebook Marketplace so you can actually search the item that you're wanting to sell, that you found is trending, that you like, or that you have the demographic for in your area. Once you find the item on Facebook Marketplace, you're gonna see a bunch of listings with prices. So you can use that as like a starting point. You could take a price that is kind of in the ballpark of what is listed already. This should give you like a general price for it. If you have the time and you want your item to sell a little slower, well then I recommend increasing your price by 20%. That way it leaves room for negotiation. Usually somebody might negotiate like 20 or 30% down. So having it marked up a little bit leaves room for some negotiating conversations to happen and for you to feel good about a number and for the other person to feel good about that number too. A kind of faster way of doing this is to just undercut your competition. So if you want the item to go quickly, I would recommend again, seeing what's out there and then cutting down by like 20 to 30%. This is a free product, so don't get greedy. When you're ready to list it, there is a very smart way of doing this, and it's called the octopus method. It's a method that I use and came up with, and I'll link that up here so you can also watch it. I'll mention a couple of things that are relevant for our first sale though. First thing is gonna be pictures. You're gonna wanna take pictures that are very clear, well lit, and you're gonna wanna take all of the angles possible. There's even an option to do video now, and then also point out the defects if there are any. The second thing is you're gonna wanna use keywords in the title and in the description. So think about what people are searching for and use those words both in the title and in the description. Third thing is going to be to join groups and then share your listing on those different groups. And this will just give you an increase in visibility. We're doing this without shipping. If you know how to ship and you're comfortable with shipping and you have everything needed for shipping, then you can start there. But because we're taking like a $0 capital approach, I'm assuming that you don't have anything that you need to ship. So we're gonna just post it all locally now. We can eventually work up to a profit where we can use some of that money to invest into what we need for shipping, which isn't a lot, but it's still some. Yeah, so just skip that for now. As a bonus tip, Facebook Marketplace does reward engagement. So that engagement could be sales, it could be people asking you questions, it could be people liking or sharing your posts. They'll reward you by boosting your listing. So basically, once they see all that activity, they will then share your listing to more people, and that's what you want. So there's two things that I use. One of them is what I consider like a pawn listings, and that can sell for like $5, something that's super cheap. These listings will signal to Facebook that you are selling and that people want to buy from you. So the second way is kind of noisy, but if you're selling clothing or something that has a size, if it's furniture, if it has dimensions, you want to leave the dimensions and the size out of the listing and wait for people to ask for it. This again will, bring a lot of noise into your inbox, but if you're okay with that, it will actually boost your listing. Kind of annoying, but it works. The third and last step is going to be to sell the item. So you're going to meet up with someone and ideally close the deal. At this point, you've probably negotiated in the direct messages. You've probably gone back and forth answering questions. You've set a time and a date, and you're ready to meet up with the person. A few tips for you here. I recommend not meeting up at your home. You don't want to share your address, especially if you don't really live in a safe town. I recommend meeting up in person, ideally during the day, in public where there's people around. If you don't live in a safe town, I recommend meeting in front of like the police station. Some cities will even have designated like meetup areas for this. Second thing is you want to confirm the time and place an hour before. So even though you've made plans with the person, don't assume that they remember and that it's a priority for them. So just send them a message. If they don't confirm, you don't show up. People are subject to change their mind even sometimes, but if you confirm the location and if you have posted a great listing, chances are that you're going to have a quick transaction that's going to result in you having some cash in your hands. Once you've done this successfully, hold on to that cash and watch part 2 of this series to learn how to turn that money into your first $1,000 in profit. I'm a software engineer turned educator and content creator, so if you're interested in learning about saving and investing your money from me, make sure that you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss future uploads.